Rev up your engines!
You've been feeling the pain at the pump, soaring gas prices. Why can't the U.S. stop it? Well, it's a relatively complex phenomenon. I mean, a lot of it's plain old greed. We all know that. Give you an example of a Texas oil man to explain his situation. Jason Herrick explained his company is Pantera Energy. When the coronavirus pandemic started, energy prices even went below zero in the beginning of the pandemic. People weren't driving as much, using as much fuel, so they stopped producing a bunch of stuff. And they didn't fix up their stuff that they were making fuel with because they weren't ramping up production, they were bringing it down. And now there's major delays because they're hunting for staff, they're hunting for parts so they can produce more. And of course, let's face the facts. It's a circle of greed. They're charging more for the oil. You supply them with supplies, right? You're going to jack your price up too. Well, they're charging so much for the oil. Heck, we'll jack our prices up too. And there's a shortage of it. Just like the car manufacturers. Go buy a new car. You're going to pay MSRP or above because they're jacking the prices up. They claim, oh, we don't have enough cars, so we'll jack the price up. Same thing with the oil. Now, they think that U.S. production is going to be ramped up about 1 million barrels a day this year. Well, that's a lot of oil. 1 million barrels a day, right? Well, where's all the supplies and stuff going to come from? Well, they're going to pay more for that. It's hard to get, so then they'll even charge more because it's hard to get. Lack of supplies, so the people that have them are going to charge more. And of course, long term, we got these politicians in that say, oh, we're going to be driving electric cars and go green in the near future. So why would the oil company invest in long-term production when they're saying, well, we don't want you to sell oil anymore? It's sort of like the perfect, gigantic mess. And if you know anything about the oil company, it takes a long time to ramp up oil production, isn't it? You just don't turn a switch. And a lot of guys in the oil industry are saying this is an unprecedented situation. Well, of course it is, because they don't know if they're going to want to use it in the future. They're trying to knock down, oh, don't use oil and gas. Ukraine being invaded by Russia. Of course, a lot of that is just BS excuse. We don't get that much oil from Russia. A lot of countries don't. And actually, the ones that do haven't even really restricted it yet. They keep talking blah, 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 but follow the money. Follow the money. They're still buying the Russian oil. Well, you have to pay us in rubles. So they found out that, well, they could pay their money into a bank, and then that bank would convert it to rubles and pay the Russians. Don't think that they're not. This is just BS. Oh, we feel so sorry for the Ukrainians, but they're still buying the Russian oil. I doubt if that's ever going to change. Everybody talks the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And now, of course, like everything else, politicians in power today, they're all kind of starting to waver on their climate change stuff because everybody's mad because gas and energy costs more money, and it all is passed on. If the diesel trucks have to pay more for the diesel fuel, you're going to pay more for the stuff you buy. It just goes on and on and on. The politicians may blah, 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 but when the people don't like something and they got to pay more money, it keeps going higher and higher, and they're not getting raises. They're going to get mad, and of course, the approval rating is going to go right down the toilet. George Bush I, he was a one-term president because he followed 8 years of Ronald Reagan where they did deficit spending, even though the Republicans said you can't do deficit spending. That's all they did. They didn't tax and they spent, and then the bill was due when George Bush I got in, and he was a one-termer because the economy went down the toilet. People always blame the person that's sitting at the throne now, not the guy that was there before him. Even though the guys that are in try to blame it on the previous one. That's how it always goes. They're all like Bart Simpsons, It was that way when I got here. But regardless, the price of gas is going to stay up for probably quite some time because of this giant morass. Well, they're finally delivering the F-150 Lightnings, and the first one was delivered to guess who? A guy who owns a Tesla. He ordered a Tesla Cybertruck too, but of course they don't exist yet, so he got F-150 Lightning instead. Who knows? This might be kind of a master plan of Ford. We'll give the first one to a guy who ordered a Tesla, but he can't wait because it's good PR for Ford, right? So this guy's jumping from his Tesla Model 3 into the Ford Electric Lightning because he can't get a Cybertruck. Who knows? When the Cybertruck comes up, maybe he'll buy one of those too. He obviously has a lot of money. He's buying a Lightning, he's buying Tesla, so this guy's obviously got money. Now, he reserved this expensive platinum trim one. Believe it or not. May 20th, 2021, right? So it took a whole year for him to actually get one. Well, actually a year and 6 days because he got it May 26, 2022. And he ordered it May 20th, 2021. Now, Ford says they built 2,800 of F-150 Lightning so far. This is the first one that was delivered. And only time will tell if it's going to work or it's not working. I mean, 2,800 is a spit in the bucket, right? So they can pick and choose who they send them to. I read an article that this guy wrote that to me made sense. The people that buy electric pickup trucks aren't going to be pickup people. They're going to be people who are electric electric vehicle people and they want to try an electric pickup. Because there's a lot of guys with pickups think they're going to be buying an electric truck. They want to go out in the middle of nowhere, be able to pull tons of weight. Now, the electric trucks can pull a lot, but they will lose their range up the wazoo. You pull, 10, 12,000 pounds with one of those things, their battery range is going to go down a toilet. The faster you go, the more weight you pull, the worse your gas mileage in an electric vehicle. That's just how they are. So we'll see. But I kind of agree with that guy's prediction. A lot of people will probably be people who aren't pickup truck people. They want to try out an electric pickup. We'll see how it pans out. Polarizer says, I'm thinking about getting a 99 Dodge Ram 1500 van, 186,000 miles. Owner says it needs power steering pump, water pump, and brake lines. He put in a new fuel pump, wheel bearings, master cylinder, catalytic converter. He's letting it go for $500. What do you think? He says that's what it needs. Yeah, that's what it needs. Who knows? You're talking about buying a 186,000 mile Dodge Ram van with a V8 engine is $500. Obviously, it's got all kinds of other problems too. He says it needs a water pump. Well, maybe the engine overheats, right? And he thinks it's the water pump. Maybe it needs an engine. You buy a vehicle like that before you even buy it. Start it up, drive it around. If you can't drive it around, can't start it up, don't buy it unless you're willing to put a new engine, a new transmission, everything. You need to put all kinds of stuff on it. It's a starter. If you're willing to put a whole bunch of money into that van, go ahead and get it. If you're not, stay far away from it because you're going to have to put a ton of money into it and you'll have an old van. Now, here's the other thing. You didn't say where you are. First thing, look at it. Crawl under. If the frame is all rotten, run away. If it's up north and the frame's rotted away, see all the control arms. Now, it says it needs brake lines, so I think it's a rotted northern car. Or it's from the salt water because brake lines are made out of steel. They're coated. They should last forever. If the brake lines are shot, generally the whole vehicle's rusted. You crawl in there, it's full of rust. Look at the rust with a flashlight and hammer, hit it, and you hear it go crunch, crunch. Run away. Do not buy a rusted out Ram van because it's useless now. If the frame's rusted, the vehicle's worth nothing. $500, it isn't even worth $5 then. Debo 3 says, how do I fix my mass airflow trouble code? I got a 2013 Audi. It has a code Central Electric's G70 mass airflow sensor supply voltage. Sometimes it runs good, sometimes it runs bad. What should I do? You have a code for supply voltage. That means that the computer thinks the mass airflow sensor is not getting enough voltage. Pray it's a wiring problem. Unplug the wiring from the computer to the mass airflow sensor and test it with an ohm meter. If there's a short in it, run a new wire. Now, you said your mechanic checked the mass sensor. I don't know if he knew how to check it or he checked it or not, but there's only 3 things that can do that code. One is there's a wiring short, so the electricity doesn't get to the sensor. The sensor could be bad, because if a sensor is somewhat shorting out, the supply voltage can be knocked out, and it could be the sensor. Since it's an Audi, the German insane machines. More often, from my experience, it's the actual main computer, the electronic control, ECM, PCM, the main computer, because the main computer supplies the voltage to the mass airflow sensor. Then, depending what happens, the mass airflow sensor sends voltage back to tell how much air is going through it. The driver circuits in those computers often go bad and it doesn't send it. And you're saying it comes and it goes. And to me, it sounds like a computer circuit failure because sometimes the computer will send the voltage, sometimes it won't. A few milliamps of power, not all that much power. It's probably your computer, but pray the wiring is true. Have the wiring tested. Pray it's that and not the computer, but often it is the main computer. Just Frank says, why am I getting this bad fuel economy? I got a 2010 Toyota Sienna. I love it, but I never get better than 19 miles a gallon no matter how I drive. They're relatively high off the ground. They're not aerodynamic. You're getting exactly what it was made for. Hilariously enough, one of my sons, they had another kid, now they got 3 kids, so they wanted a Sienna van. And with these insane prices, he found out the used ones were going for more than the new ones. He asked me, he said, what do you think of getting a new one? So he got a new one that was hybrid. They just came up with hybrid ones last year, so he bought a brand new hybrid one. He is getting 30-something miles a gallon in that thing. You're getting 18. Now, of course, you're going to pay 50-something grand for a new one. That's a lot of gasoline. You got to understand that. They're vans. Vans are basically, originally, commercial vehicles for carrying fish and things around payers, right? You're going to get bad gas mileage unless you get a hybrid or something like that. That's just how it goes. There's nothing you can do to make it get better gas mileage. You buy a hybrid one, yeah, they get a lot better gas mileage. There's no arguing that, but they cost an awful lot of money. 99 Jody says, I can't program a new fob for my F150. I got an '09 F150. I can't get it to learn mode on the door lock fobs. It used to work, but not now. Okay, well, there's 2 things. One, just take your fob apart, put a new battery in it. Often that will fix it. Now if not, get another fob. Like I love those guys at Tom's Keys. They're online, right? They've got universal fobs. You can buy one cheap enough from them, and then they send it to you in the mail. Comes in a couple of days. It'll show you how to program it. If it doesn't work, then unfortunately that means that your control unit in the vehicle is shot, and that costs a lot of money to buy another control module, have it reprogrammed for the car, and yada yada yada. But the guys at Tom's sell pretty good stuff. If a new battery doesn't fix it, just go to there online, Tom's Key Company, and they can send you one that'll work. If it doesn't work, unfortunately, that would mean your control unit is shot. To me, the interesting thing about these Tom guys are, if you've seen the video that I made, they made me a key for my wife's Lexus and her Matrix. I just took pictures, used my phone, took a picture of the keys. They said, take a picture of the front and back, send it to us, we'll make you key. They did. I was just elated when they both went in and turned. Now, they didn't start the car because you got to program them, but they also sent you the machine to program them, and then you mail the machine back to them when you're done. But in the case of a fob, you don't need a machine to reprogram it. They'll give you all the directions, and if it doesn't work then unfortunately, like I said, your control module's gone and they cost a small fortune. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.